Boundaries for Beginners.
I'm so tired. Life's getting on top of me. My sponsor tells me that I need to develop clear boundaries in my relationships and protect myself against being abused.
Oh yes? What did she mean by all that?
That I shouldn't give my power away.
What power? Personal? Social? Professional? Financial?
She didn't say. Personal, I suppose.
What did you understand by that?
Not being pressurized into doing things I don't want to do.
Who pressurizes you?
My husband, my children, my mother, everyone really.
It sounds to me as if you put yourself under a lot of pressure.
Well, I suppose I've always been a bit of a perfectionist, but nowadays people tend to take advantage of me.
They will if you let them.
I tell my husband that I don't like some of the things he makes me do.
Does he threaten you if you don't comply?
No, he just sulks.
And then what happens?
I give in.
In that case, you're rewarding him for sulking. He'll know that he can get away with anything he does, and then make whatever further demands he wants on you.
I was just being loving.
Love is a two-way process of mutual attraction.
Oh, I'm sure he loves me.
He seems to have an odd way of showing it.
Buys me presents.
Before or after he gets you to do something you don't like?
Before, I suppose.
So in that way, he sets you up to satisfy his demands next time.
You make it sound so calculating.
All I'm commenting on is what you tell me.
Well, I do love my husband, and we have 3 young children, so I'm dependent on him. I wouldn't want to lose him.
Has he ever said he might leave you?
Not really. It's just that he doesn't come home sometimes until the small hours.
And what happens then?
I ask him where he's been, and he says he's been working late at the office preparing for something or other.
Does he tell you in advance that he's going to be late?
Sometimes.
It seems to me that you're giving him permission to do whatever he wants, and then you have to put up with it.
I don't give him permission.
Not verbally, perhaps, but you might as well do so, because it sounds to me as if he makes and breaks whatever rules he likes.
He says it's important that we have an open relationship.
What do you understand by that?
I don't know really. I've never been clear on that. I suppose it means that he doesn't like me pestering him. That's what he says, anyway.
I can see a real problem for you there. Some people will do whatever they can get away with. Staff will steal from their employers, children will leave their rooms in chaos, and husbands will do what they can get away with.
They can't all be like that.
No, of course not. But I agree with your sponsor that it's sensible to protect yourself from being taken for granted or even abused.
I don't want you to think that he'd hit me or anything.
I wonder if you've ever heard the expression, treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen.
No.
I feared not.
What does it mean?
It's a guideline for people on how to get others to do whatever they demand.
That's very unpleasant.
Yes, it is. It's often applied in business as well as at home. It takes advantage of people's fear of losing something, such as a job or a relationship.
Well, my husband doesn't behave like that. At least, I don't think he does.
It's none of my business, unless you want to tell me. But do you have your own bank account, and do you get regular payments into it?
My husband gives me money for housekeeping.
But do you have some money of your own that you can spend on whatever you want?
If I ask him for it.
Well, how about the children?
What about them?
Do they go to bed at the time you say, and do they do the things that you ask them to do?
Oh, you must know what children are like these days.
Mine are grown up. But I expect children nowadays are no different in this respect from when I was a boy. I was always trying to see what I could get away with.
Oh, yes. Mine can twist me around their little fingers sometimes.
It's for you to decide, but that might not be the best thing for them. Children usually benefit from having structure in their lives. They like to know where they stand and what the rules are in a relationship.
Oh, we don't have any strict rules. My husband says that there are too many rules in our society and we have to have free choice in life, even the children.
And what happens as a result?
Well, they do tend to go their own ways a bit. But I think that's because I'm not a very good mother.
Who says that?
My husband.
Well, he would, wouldn't he?
What does that mean?
I was just wondering how much he does around the house and how much he does in the way of caring for the children.
Oh no, that's my job. He tells me so.
And he'll go on telling you so if you let him.
That's what my mother says.
It's probably best to leave her out of it.
I can't. She's always wanting to see the grandchildren.
My take on that is that my children have children, and I love seeing them, but I have no grandchildren.
Is that because you're frightened of getting old?
No, I'm eternally young. It's just that I don't want to get in the way of my children's right to bring up their children in whatever way they want. I respect that boundary between us.
My mother's always telling me what I should be doing for the children.
It's the same situation as with your husband. She will, if you let her.
But she's such a help to me. Bringing up 3 young children isn't easy.
At the price of your own self-esteem, maybe. But I'm not surprised you're feeling rather down. It seems to me that you have 4 children to look after, and that's very hard work. Perhaps even harder work than going to the office.
But what can I do?
That's a really difficult question. Establishing new boundaries is very difficult once they're already in place and taken for granted as the way things just are.
Yes, my husband keeps saying it's me who needs to change.
I think it might be best if you start by establishing some clear boundaries with the children, on things like keeping their rooms tidy and going to bed on time. It'll be difficult at first because they'll rebel against you.
I have more than enough of that already.
This is the way to stop that. Stick to your guns. Be clear and firm. Young children like routines, and even teenagers respond well to clarity.
But I'm worn out.
That's no surprise to me. I'd be worn out in your situation, and I'm pretty tough.
I'll do my best.
I'm sure you will. You're trying to be a good wife and a good mother. But give yourself a break. Start with relatively simple things, like getting the children to see the benefits of doing things in a new way.
All right, I'll give it a go.
In the relationship with your mother, it might be best if you and your husband spoke to her together.
I'd be worried that he would upset her. Then I would lose the very real help that she does give me.
Then go through with him in advance all the things you want to say to your mother.
If he'll give me the time, he's so busy.
Don't make excuses for him in your own mind. That way you'll never be able to say to your mother or to your husband what it is that you really want.
Oh, all right, I'll try.
Sorry, that's not enough. You have to believe in what you're doing. You yourself have to do the appropriate confrontations.
I'm frightened of the payback. They're both of them very clever at twisting things round so that I'm always in the wrong.
You have to start somewhere, or stay as you are.
So what shall I say to my mother?
That you appreciate what she does in helping you. That's true, isn't it?
Yes, it is. What then?
Then you can say that you want to be a better wife and mother. That's also true.
Yes, but she'll then offer to do even more.
And then you say that, like the children's homework, the only way you can learn is by doing it yourself, and by learning from making some mistakes.
But she'll say that the children would get hurt if I make mistakes.
You're doing it again, making excuses for the other person.
Oh, yes, I suppose I am.
If you want to change your behavior, you have to change your mental attitude first of all.
It's so difficult.
Of course it's difficult. Life isn't like a gushy novel. All relationships are difficult. They require work from both sides if they're to succeed.
But I doubt that my husband would ever think of having therapy.
I'm not suggesting he does. But yet again, you're finding excuses for him. His responses are up to him. You don't know what they'll be until you talk to him.
Oh dear.
Now let's see if you can work out how you can establish healthy boundaries with him.
Are you suggesting I should stop having sex with him?
I'm not saying anything. It's for you to make suggestions.
Oh dear. This is really difficult. I'm not used to having to make decisions like this.
Then other people will make them for you.
Right. I'll stop having sex with him, It's no fun nowadays anyway.
I don't know enough about your relationship, or anyone else's, to make a judgment. But that's probably the wrong decision.
Why?
Because you loved him once and could do again, and you have 3 young children.
My mother says she could help me look after them.
Maybe she would say that in order to get even closer to the children. Then you might have an even lower opinion of yourself as a mother.
It couldn't go lower.
Oh, yes, it could. A long way lower if your mother was even more in charge of the children, helping you, than she is already.
Sometimes I really dislike her for that.
Ah, now at last you're thinking more about your own needs and wants. That's better. Although I don't think it helps to dislike her for what many grandparents do.
I can't win whatever I do.
It's not about winning or losing, it's about finding behaviors that are useful. For example, do you think that refusing sex with your husband would bring you closer together?
I expect that he would just get it from somewhere else.
Is that what you want?
Of course not.
Then it's not a useful choice of behavior. Don't go down that route. What else might you do?
I could tell him that I would like us to get closer, like we used to be.
What do you think he'd say?
I don't know.
Good. You're learning. It might be a good idea to find out. Say it. Dealing with boundaries is as much about taking them down as it is about putting them up.
I don't like the sound of that at all.
Do whatever you feel is best for you.
I was told to think of other people before myself.
Perhaps you were told that by people who create little or nothing themselves, but who benefit from and take credit for the self-sacrifice of others.
That's a very sweeping statement.
So who benefits from your self-sacrifice? Do you?
No, I don't. But I hope other people do.
I doubt they really do benefit. Perhaps your kindness to others and the lack of clear boundaries for your behavior and theirs leads to people taking you for granted and hurting you.
I know that, but I don't really mind. They're family.
You're creating a dependency and entitlement culture. Is that really what you want for your family or for anyone else?
Well, not really. But I don't want to be thought selfish.
Think about the results of your actions. Is it in your self-interest or that of your family for you to continue to have a poor sense of self-esteem?
No.
Or to have poor boundaries between your needs and the expectations and demands of other people?
Oh, I don't count.
Oh, come on. Think about what you've just said. Is "I don't count" a healthy and useful belief that you want to hand on to your children and other people? Think about it some more before it destroys you.